This is a true story from when I was 11 years old. I was hanging out with my friend at a huge park complex that had playgrounds, stores, restaurants, and even places that taught classes on different activities and martial arts. Our parents had dropped us off there, planning to pick us up at 9 p.m. At 8, my friend had a dance class, so I decided to go to my twin brother, who was elsewhere in the park with one of his friends. As I was running over to him, I lost my breath and decided to duck into a shop that had AC, which turned out to be a place that taught painting lessons. The moment I entered, an old man walked up to me. He was wearing a white shirt with marker stains on it, so I figured he was the owner. With a crooked, forced smile, he said to me, "Want to watch me paint?" As a kid, I didn't know how to say no, so I said sure. We sat at a table where he had a canvas set up with a creepy drawing of what looked like a baby. Then he gave me his phone and told me to record him. So I did. For 20 eternal, awkward minutes, I sat quietly and watched him paint. There wasn't a single other person in the shop. It was just me and him. And I kept wondering why nobody was coming in. Over time, I got thirsty, so I timidly asked him for water. That was the first thing I'd said since we sat down. And as soon as I said it, his mood shifted. He gave me that same crooked smile, only more exaggerated. Then he got up and brought water for both of us. When he sat back down, he took his phone back and started asking me questions, now ignoring the painting, just entirely focused on me. He asked what school I went to, but I gave him the name of my old school since I had just switched. Next, he asked if I lived in the area. I lied and said that I didn't, but I had no clue if I was convincing. Then, he asked me if I had an Instagram, and if he could follow it. I knew something was wrong with the conversation, but I was too young and shy to know how to get out of it. Luckily, I gave him my fake account that didn't have any posts on it. I had become extremely uncomfortable, so I decided to call my mom. The trouble was, my phone died on the way to the mall, so I left it in the car. I did have my mom's number memorized, but I was still forced to ask the old man if I could use his phone to call her. In a mere second, the man's face changed. The fake smile was gone, replaced by a very real frown. He barked at me to go outside, saying he would call her out there. Scared by him raising his voice, but thinking I would finally get out of the situation, I did what he said. By then it was almost 9 p.m., and the park was emptying out. I got outside, waiting for the old man to follow me and pull out his phone. But the moment the door closed, he grabbed me by my wrist and pulled me into the alley right by the shop. I tried to scream, but he had his hand over my mouth, pushing my head back against the concrete wall. I cried silently, wondering if I was about to die. The man bent down and told me face to face that if I wanted to live, I had to do as he said. I nodded frantically. Then he told me to stay quiet and follow him deeper into the alley, rounding a corner where we weren't visible from the park. Behind the shop, he grabbed a rope that was tied around a dead tree, first tying it around my mouth, then my arms and legs. Then, he left me there and entered the shop through the back door. I didn't know what he could possibly be getting, but I knew it wouldn't be long until he would be back. The second I was alone, my mind entered overdrive. Like the fact he was no longer in my sight finally allowed me to think clearly. I remembered how I used to play kidnapper with my cousin and brother. Since I was the girl, I was usually the one that got captured. Because my cousin was freakishly good at tying knots, I had learned how to get out of even the toughest ones. It took a terrifyingly long time, but I managed to free my hands and legs, and then barely freed my mouth as the man came out the back door. He dropped all his stuff and sprinted towards me as he saw me out of the road. I ran for my life, weaving through the remaining crowds of the park until I found my brother. The man was long gone, and my mind was already trying to convince itself the whole thing was just a dream, something I made up. When my brother asked me why I was freaking out, I just kept saying it was nothing. My friend met up with us soon after. Then my mom arrived and took us all home. I wanted to, but I was too scared. It's just one of those irrational things a kid does sometimes, I guess. I tried forgetting about it. I almost did. About a month later, I went to the mall again. This time, I saw something that completely broke me. We passed by the same shop, and when I glanced inside, I saw the old man sitting with another girl my age who was clearly uncomfortable. I looked away immediately and put that image in the vault before I could even process it. I know it's terrible, but I repressed the memory entirely until very recently. I feel very guilty that I got out of that situation, only to leave the trap there for someone else. When I went back to that park years after it happened, the shop and the man were gone, replaced. I have no idea if he ever succeeded in doing whatever he planned with me, but I hope to God he didn't.